going on, everybody? We are back with another podcast. We got Will and Holden with us today. Will from Lockdown Sound. Will, welcome back, man.
Welcome back. Always glad to be here.
It's been what, a year? I think it's been a long time.
Yep, just over a year.
It's been crazy.
A year and a month, just about.
Yeah, it's because of the pup.
Because the pup.
I keep on forgetting about the pup.
The famous pup.
Yeah, that pissed all over the floor as soon as you guys walked in.
My bad.
No. No, we've seen you at Point Moulet for a little bit there, and we've been talking about doing another podcast for a while now.
Yep, always trying to set it up. Just hard to make the schedules work.
Very tough, especially with hunting season and turkey season, which I'm already flustered still about this morning. It's been absolutely crazy. You kind of just want to introduce yourself and Lockdown Sound, what Lockdown Sound is and who you are?
Yeah, so I'm the owner of Lockdown Sound Calls. We produce pretty much every kind of game call you could want, from predator, rabbit, squirrel, duck, goose, turkey, elk, if I didn't say that. So pretty much if you can shoot it legally, we make a call for it. Aside from that, we do a couple other things, custom knives, pretty much anything outdoor related, custom hunting apparel, stuff like that. So we dip our toes in a little bit of every part of the hunting industry and, just try to give people actual good quality hunting stuff that's actually affordable. So that's kind of our goal, and we've been doing it for about 4 years now and trying to hopefully do another 4 and after that.
Yeah, keep it rolling. Got to keep it rolling. You guys get into the turkey knives with the spurs on, like the foot?
I haven't yet, but I want to by next year.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. So it's I'm interested to see. There's a lot of guys getting into it right now, and I need to talk to some of them because we got questions a couple times this year about people wanting turkey feathers in their turkey pot calls, which I thought was a pretty cool idea, and they looked pretty cool. I made one of them for a buddy of mine, but there's kind of a gray line with selling them because it's illegal to sell turkey feather, like turkey. Oh. I don't want to say paraphernalia, but like turkey feathers, you can't sell things.
Just like waterfowl.
Yeah, just like waterfowl.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a gray area of if they're allowed to send them to us if they legally harvested the bird, but then we're reselling it to them. So now we're claiming it as our product. So it's kind of a gray area that I'm working out, but it's the same with waterfowl calls, putting duck and goose feathers inside of calls. It's a gray area, but
that's what we have. Firebolt game calls is what we run for our turkey calls, and he's doing one for me and my dad, just paying it, not selling, not doing any of that stuff, but he's doing one for us, and those are some of the coolest calls that you could possibly do.
Yeah, they're really sweet.
I mean, there's so many different turkey things that you could do for that stuff that it's like, I don't know, it's so much different. I don't know, it's crazy. But those turkey, like the knives are absolutely,
they're sweet.
Yeah. I don't know what it is that I like about them so much, but they are awesome. Absolutely awesome. Now, you guys do most wood stuff or acrylic stuff as well?
For turkey calls, yeah, we pretty much strictly stick to wood. As far as duck and goose calls go, we're probably 60% acrylic, 40% wood. But we do a good mix. A lot of our orders are custom orders, so you can find us in about 24 retail stores, but most of our stuff is custom orders, so it's kind of whatever you want.
Custom stuff as in like just the color or like design on it?
Everything about the call. You can customize the color, you can customize the shape, you can customize the sound, the engravings, what's in the call. I don't know when this episode's actually going to release, but we're working on run right now for a woman down in Florida. It took a lot to get kind of the licensing behind it and everything, but it's a Louis Vuitton duck call for her.
Wow.
With gold flakes in the clear acrylic around the call. So everything down to hers was customized, from her name's engraved on the band to the gold flakes in the call. That's a really sweet one. I'm excited to turn out.
She's fancy, huh?
Yeah, it's a gift for her cousin, actually. She does a lot for us as far as marketing and repping the brand goes. So she asked what the fanciest thing we could do was, and I was like, well, tell me a little bit about her. She's like, she's a very bougie girl that's gotten into duck hunting lately.
Louis Vuitton.
I was like, what is she like? She's got to have a brand then, right? Like
right.
Victoria's Secret. Like, I don't know anything about women's brands.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm with you.
What brand? She was like, she really loves Louis Vuitton. I was like, all right, I'll work on that. So
I've been seeing a lot of that though, even with on guns and everything though. It's been all over the place.
Yeah, and she's got a SB3 that she's getting wrapped in Louis Vuitton.
Oh,
and I was like, all right.
Jeez,
if that's your flavor,
that is sweet though, because there's not a lot of call companies I feel like that do different designs on the calls. It's usually just one solid, your base design, but the color or what's inside of the call or the wood or whatever it may be
Right.
is different, and that's the only thing that's different, not the entire call itself.
And that's the most frustrating part. You know, we do a lot of our sales via social media, and people always message me, well, can you send me the options for calls? I'm like, I mean, I can send you some stuff we've done, but really the options, whatever you can dream up.
That's the hardest part, I feel like, with custom stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to do the absolute best you can for somebody. They have an image in their head, which I'm not no call maker by any means. I'm just like what I feel like it would be. And if you're not spot on with that, I feel like it is the hardest thing to make them kind of people happy.
Trying to get them to articulate their image on paper, you know. Because
I mean, sometimes, I mean, if it's not CNC machine, like it might not just be doable at all.
Right.
You know, I don't know. That'd be tough. Very tough. But Holden, you're here as well.
Yep, I'm here. I pretty much just kind of help Will out here and there when I can. Especially right now with his new subscription box that he's got coming out here soon.
Yeah, so he's going to be helping me package them up. I guess we'll jump right into that.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's do that right there.
Might as well.
Again, I don't know when this is dropping, but the first week of June, our first subscription boxes will be shipping out. So we've had really good feedback on those so far as, you know, the different brands people want to see. But essentially, everybody knows it's no secret that when you buy in bulk, you get a better deal. So my thought was, okay, if I can get enough of my followers on board on a subscription box, now I'm buying 100, 200 of somebody's product. They're going to give me a deal on it, which means I can send it to you cheaper. So it averages out to about our box is $29.99 a month, and you get about $50 to $90 worth of gear each month. So
that's not bad at all.
No, I mean, you're getting about double your value each month. So
I feel like a lot of people don't understand like how much you're actually getting in those boxes. Like they see the money that they're spending, but like, you know, you could double, triple, quadruple like your money in 1 month.
And the biggest question I've gotten is like, do we get one item each month, or is it multiple things in the box? And kind of I've pulled people on it essentially as they've ordered and just been like, what would you want to see? Like, do you want one big item worth $100 each month, or would you rather have three $30 items? You know, like, and the feedback's been mixed. So kind of what I landed on was you're going to get one made item a month, and then a couple small things going in there. Yeah.
Now, do you guys do lanyards and stuff too?
Yep. So I've got a buddy of mine that makes them for me.
Okay.
So he doesn't, run his own brand or anything. They're locked on sound, but I don't make them myself personally. So
I mean, you throw a lanyard in there, or a game tote or whatever, and a call. Or I mean, that's something that nobody can ever have enough calls. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. So, and the calls will be something, to be honest with you, that's sprinkled in throughout the year. If you're subscribed, you'll probably have a full set of lanyard by duck season.
That'd be sweet.
That's not the main item you're going to be getting from us. I mean, we've got partnerships now for the box with Sitka, Steve Ranelli from Meat Eater, Migra. I'm trying to think of Mossy Oak, Tidewee. So there's a lot of different brands that we're working with to get the discounts we need to give you guys the products for less than $30 a month. So
yeah, you can't beat that then.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of different products in there. Everything from custom butcher knives to sick gear, limited edition Ducks Unlimited gears on its way. For anybody that's listening right now, I'd say make sure you're subscribed by the middle of June, because July's box is going to be pretty spectacular.
So now, how do you plan on upping it? Because, I mean, you can't send the same thing every time.
Right. So my goal is, right now I've got a list of products on my phone, about 50 products right now. And I'm going to cycle through those products. And then hopefully by the time I cycle through that, I'll have more ideas. There's an endless amount of stuff. It's not all going to be necessarily duck hunting gear, but like, let's say, 1 month you get a couple calls, a lanyard, next month you might get some Sitka apparel, some, collars, gloves, some hats, some apparel, stuff like that.
Swapping it out.
And then we'll be throwing in some other stuff like waterfowl seasoning, like, for actually cooking the wild game, stuff like that.
Some cleaning stuff maybe with the knives and whatever it may be.
Yeah, so we're going to try and touch on not just the hunting itself, but kind of all the things that surround hunting as well.
Yeah, it's a super good idea.
And, we'll see if it lasts a year and I run out of products, then it lasted a year and I run out of products. But
you say at least you tried, right?
Right. I've got a pretty good feeling we'll be able to cycle through.
No, for sure. I mean, like you said before the podcast started, though, I mean, there's nobody that does that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I was laying in bed one night and it was like 11:30 at night and the TV was on and it was a kitchenware subscription on TLC or whatever it was.
Some of the best and worst decisions that somebody will ever make is right in the bed right there.
Yep.
So how did you get kind of introduced, like with hunting, but just in the call industry?
Hunting wise, I've hunted my whole life. I didn't waterfowl hunt until about 15 though.
Is that your bread and butter kind of waterfowl hunting?
I would say I do waterfowl hunting the most. I'm pretty split evenly from waterfowl hunting and deer hunting. I see both sides of it. You know, I love the action of waterfowl hunting, getting to pretty much be able to fire your gun every single hunt multiple times, the camaraderie, you know, there's people involved, you're having fun. But I also think there's nothing in waterfowl that compares to watching a huge buck come in. You don't get that buck fever of watching, you know, a huge white-tailed deer walk up. So I see both sides. You know, it's kind of like, would you rather have one hunt every couple of years that's like a memory forever, or would you rather have 20 smaller hunts that, you know, you don't necessarily remember each one, but you remember the season being good as a whole kind of thing?
That's what's tough about it though too, because like growing up for me wise, like we were hunting next to people that were shooting everything that walked in.
Right.
And that's why we got introduced to waterfowl, because it's like, I got tired of seeing the same deer every single sit, you know. Waterfowl for us is, I don't know, it's life now. You can't beat it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how I feel. I grew up with watching does. We weren't allowed to take a doe before December.
Now, is that your...
That was my dad's rule, growing up. Yeah. So on our property, we weren't allowed to take a doe before December. And, you know, I didn't kill a deer for my first 12 years of hunting. Because we were a travel property, so there was food on one side, bedding on the other.
Oh,
we just got traveled through. So once one food source dried up and you're late December,
you're done.
The deer are done coming on your property. So
it's tough.
It took us a while to kind of adjust to that, and I killed a couple doe on that property, and my first ever quote unquote buck was a spike off that property. But
the old Michigan 11 point.
Yep.
Everybody's got one, I'll tell you that much.
Yep. So that was the first buck I had ever gotten. But once I got some hunting rights on a property down the road from us now, it's actually a church camp. And so it was kind of, there were no rules there when we started. So I was able to kind of say, you're on my property now, Dad. So these are the rules now. And we actually, a buddy of mine's a DNR officer who is kind of on the biology side of things. So they were doing deer reports in the area and flying the drones over and counting deer populations.
Oh, wow.
So I told him, I was like, hey, make sure you fly over this property and
check
let me
it
know
out
what the
for me.
ratio was. The desired ratio for my property was a 2-to-1 buck to doe, or doe to buck ratio. We had a 13-to-1 doe to buck ratio. So I was like, all right, we got to kill some doe
Time to thin
the next
the
couple
herd.
of years. Yeah. And that year, that was the best year of deer hunting I ever had. I had 2 does on the ground and a buck by opening day.
Holy smokes.
And I was like, cool. And I still hunted the rest of the year and just kind of watched things. Now, last year was the opposite. I didn't kill a damn thing, but I missed 2 lifetime bucks. So, it was my own fault. I couldn't complain.
Now that you say that, I did hear the story on, which I was going to bring it up later on, but your guys' podcast.
Yeah,
I did hear the story on that.
With Slapping Tails, I believe, is where we told that story.
Yeah.
I've got the video. I know your viewers can't see the video, but I'll show you the video of that buck walking in. But it makes me cry every time I watch it. That's for sure.
He completely whiffed it.
You know what? I'm going to pause this right now because I will add this into the clip and just start recording off of that. Okay, we're back. Let's see this video.
All right.
Because I heard holy smokes.
So he comes in. I heard him. All right, backstory first.
Backstory, let's go.
I get up to take a piss.
Uh-huh.
I was crossbow hunting at this point.
Okay.
So I'm in a ground blind, so just sticks on the ground, sitting against a tree. So I get up to piss. I lean my crossbow up against the sticks. Yep, that's where I went wrong. And I piss. I come back. I sit down, and I grab my crossbow. And as soon as I sit down, I hear rustling coming from, there's a marsh right in front of me, 50, 60 yards. And I hear some rustling. I'm like, all right, there's something back there. Probably just a squirrel or something. So I lean the crossbow back, and I kind of shoulder it, and I see some horns start poking through, and he's walking through. And, when he comes into play, you can see him come in.
This is you standing there.
I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down at this point. Yep, I'm just leaning against a tree on the ground. And he's coming dead on at me. Beautiful beautiful rack. And
Talking about the deer. Talking about
yeah.
not Holden's.
That too.
and he walks in and trots a little bit, and I just at him, and he stops, broadside, looks.
Yeah.
And
what ricochet? What just happened?
The arrow in the crossbow nock, when I had pulled it off, it must have gotten snagged on a stick or something, because it's not sitting straight in the nock. And you can't tell quite by that video, but he's about 7 yards away. Like, you can't ask for a better shot than 7 yards broadside. And you can see when the arrow comes out, where is it? Right there. You can see it's cocked sideways.
Oh my God.
And I had it looked at. I had the video, and I have trail cam pictures of them. And I'm guessing it's about 150 class buck from everything I've been told about it. I had a scorer up in Saginaw look at the trail cam pictures and give me his best score. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to say 145 to 155.
How long till you
yards.
slept?
I still haven't.
Am I
supposed to be yet?
That's horrible.
I'll still be sitting on the couch, and my girlfriend will look at me and be like, what are you doing on your phone? I'm like, watching my buck video. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to get over it.
God.
The only good thing about it is I had him on pictures in January, so we made it through gun season. The buddy of mine who owns the property that pretty much surrounds that property kills a monster every single year. So I was glad he didn't get him.
That was the year prior, right?
Pretty much the past 5 years prior.
He shot your deer, correct?
Just a monster.
Okay.
There's a lot of big bucks over there. They do a good job with herd management. So.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I didn't sleep well on that one for quite a while. That was still gets me going to this day. That's for sure.
So we just got back into. Well, me and my dad just got back into deer hunting. We haven't done it probably 5-6 years now. Farmer asked us. He's like, "Hey, I just bought this property. You guys want to deer hunt it?" I'm like,
"Of course."
Yeah, I'll jump back on that right now. Throw the camera out there. Didn't hunt it the first year, and actually the one that was poking you in the arm right there.
Okay, this one.
That one, the one below it, the one above it, one more, that one, and there's one more on there that all came from that property. So I mean, there's some big deer there, and didn't hunt it the first year.
Yeah, it's got a lot of mass to it right there.
Oh yeah, and started hunting it last year. Slept in opening morning. He was underneath my stand. At
that's the worst.
7:09 or whatever it was. There was another time where I told work I was supposed to leave early. Or I'm going to leave early. Like I'm useless if I'm not out in the woods right now. As I'm pulling up to park, he's right in front of my stand. That was the last day I seen one of the deer out there, and I could imagine the feeling. Like, I mean, we weren't able to get the opportunity to harvest any deer like that,
right?
Or any deer in that matter. But I could only imagine the heartbreak for that.
Yeah, that happened at probably about 8:30 in the morning, and I texted my dad, who his stand's 600-700 yards away across the other side of the creek, and I texted him and I was like, "Hey, I'll meet you at the truck." He's like, "What do you mean? Like, we got another couple hours of hunting left before we go to lunch because we were hunting all day." And I was like, "I'll meet you at the truck. Just come when you're done. I'll be in the truck." And he came up like 30 minutes later and was like, "What happened?" I was like, I showed him the video, and he just looked at me and was like, "Well, look on the bright side. You don't got to process a deer tonight."
Yeah, but still,
yeah, thanks.
That does not help at all, though. That does not help. Sounds like my turkey hunt this morning, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Horrible, man. We'll get into that, though. We'll get into that. I got to have some time to debrief about it all. No, so, I mean, you guys had it for what now? 2-3 years now? 4 years, you said. 4 years in the company?
Yep. This is about 4 years.
So now what's the future holding for you guys? I mean, you guys, going to all these trade shows and stuff already. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of big things. I mean,
So last year's goal was kind of to just break into the custom market a little bit more. You know, our first 2 years we were in business, but the first year we started in August, and, we sold a couple $1,000s worth of calls on Instagram. Like, it wasn't really a company. It was more of a hobby trying to make some money.
Still pretty good though.
Yeah. And then the second year it was like, okay, let's see if we can grow the following. And then last year it was, let's hightail to all these trade shows and see if we can get people to understand the name and the brand a little bit.
Right.
And this year it's kind of, I don't want to say sit back and see what happens, but we've attended most of the trade shows at this point, the big ones that we wanted to go to. We're still going to 5 this year. but not 14 like we did last year, which was way too much.
It's a whole other job alone.
It was ridiculous. So this year, you know, we're slowing down on the trade shows a little bit. We are breaking more a little bit into the retail side of things. So especially for turkey this year, you know, we've upped the amount of stores we're providing for, which has been good.
What stores are you in?
So a lot of them are out west, actually.
Okay.
The biggest one in Michigan that we're in would probably be, it's probably the shop in St. Charles, Thurston's
Okay.
Outdoors in St. Charles. And we're talking to a couple other big ones in the area that I can't necessarily say yet.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy though. I mean, to even think that it's almost like this podcast, right? Or like, you know, people that recognize you from your Instagram or
Right.
podcast or whatever, they come up to you and it's like, I'm a nobody, man. Like I'm just like you. Like
Right.
what's so special about me? But then seeing your guys' calls in a shop like that,
yeah,
like,
it's definitely great.
surreal.
And it's awesome too. And one time so far, I ran into somebody hunting who had our call on our lanyard.
That's sweet.
And then a couple weeks ago, I was driving on I-94 north of Jackson in Michigan, and I was passing somebody, and they had our sticker in the corner of their truck.
Really?
Now, no idea who he was, but I was like, hey, that's pretty cool to see.
Awesome to see.
Somebody whoever the black Silverado owner is in southern
Shout out to
Michigan.
you.
You're out there somewhere. Thanks for putting the decal on.
It's crazy though, man, to think like what we thought we could make and
Right.
what it actually is becoming,
Right.
or
So-
what you guys what it's becoming for you guys. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, that's for sure. And now we're starting to get people to both online order and come up to us at shows that are like, hey, I bought this call from you. I loved it. I want to get a goose call now too instead of a duck call. So we're starting to get that repeat side of things of people who actually like the calls. And
Now, do you guys have like a pro staff, or like what's kind of your like selling point besides like the custom? I mean, like, is there a pro staff that's running through your calls for any competitions or anything?
so we haven't quite gotten into the competition market quite yet. I'm working on getting a couple people ready for a female and the single reed duck calling competition in Delta Waterfowl Expo in Baton Rouge in July.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, and that'll be kind of our first competition style things. The difference, it's kind of hard with calls because we make calls to actually hunt with. Most of your calling
Right.
competitions, they're not actually using duck calls they're going to use in the field. The calling competition game
It
is how
sounds
loud can I get
completely-
it
Yeah.
and how obnoxious can I be without it breaking the reed.
That's the whole thing, right? I mean, people say like talk so much crap about the guys that don't
Right.
compete, and yeah, it's a whole.
But like,
yeah.
I'd rather take my money and develop a better goose call and a better duck call and a better wood duck call than I would say, hey, I got second, third, first place in a duck calling competition that doesn't really actually help anybody kill more birds.
100%.
That's our focus, is getting people successful hunts. Calling competitions don't do that. It's just an ego thing.
It's surprising though too. I feel like you guys probably run into it a lot though with like the market with calls. With like we said before, there's so many calls nowadays. I mean,
So many call makers.
you could have Joe whatever out there blowing your call that nobody even knows, but if it sounds good, I mean, you're gonna sell 20 more calls. You know what I mean? It's just it's such a weird, like even with the on stage calling, like if it sounds good to somebody, then they're going for that. Even though they don't know how to blow a call, they're still gonna buy it. You
Right.
know, it's got to be very tough with how many call companies there are.
Yeah, and that's why we're gonna dip our toes a little bit in the calling contest market this year and kind of see what happens. But the previous couple years, we just finalized our actual custom lockdown sound insert the beginning of last year. So I didn't want to turn around and say let's make another one right off that. We wanted to make sure we got that one out there and made sure all the feedback was good first. So
you guys have all your own guts. You're not using Echo boards or
nope.
oh, that's
so
good.
we haven't used Echo since 2022, and then last year we used another small company's for like 2 months last year. We used another small company's tone board and used our insert shape while we kind of finished developing ours, and then we finally figured out ours, got it injection molded, and then we run our poly inserts are injection molded now, and then our custom wood ones and stuff are out of a jig. So
I feel like that separates a lot of call companies just
Yeah.
in itself, because I feel like a lot of them are just Echo or whatever.
anyone can make a barrel and throw an Echo insert in,
exactly
If
exactly.
you got sandpaper and a drill at home, you can make a barrel.
Yeah, Holden.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch it, dude.
Yeah.
I'd watch that guy.
See, and he doesn't give himself enough credit, though, either, because they do things that, like, other call companies don't do. You know, I just seen the other day somebody, not even their call, and he fixed it for them, you know? I mean, stuff like that, and then reaching out to, like, the youth to try to get them into hunting more and stuff like that.
You know, I'm actually going to touch on that for a minute, just because the guy who bought the call called him out online on pretty much every social media platform. He had bought this call from you guys aren't sponsored by Zinc or anything, right?
No.
Okay,
nope,
cool.
Nope.
Before I say that.
Yeah, no, you're good.
They bought a Zinc call with
I'm not even going to bleep it out if that's okay.
That's fine by me.
Okay, cool.
They bought a Zinc call with a lifetime guarantee on it. And they contacted Zinc, and basically he was using the call a couple years ago and tripped in the water, and it got waterlogged.
Mm-hmm.
And it never sounded right after that.
Wood call?
Yeah, wood
it's
call.
swelled up.
And it was a sleeved insert, so it had acrylic on the inside and then the wood around the acrylic to sleeve it. And the wood swelled up and when it got wet, and then it shrunk, so he couldn't get the insert out to tune it. Zinc asked him, have you pulled it out, and can you send us a picture of whatever's ruined on the inside that makes it not blow? And he was like, I can't get the insert out. It's, I don't know what to tell you. It's stuck in there.
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, and that's tough. And they closed his customer service order. That's just shitty of a company to do.
China.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
So he sent the call to us and was like, hey, the call had sentimental meaning to him. And he's a buddy I hunted with last year. And he's like, if you can fix it, cool. If not, I get it. I'll put it on the mantle. But I was able to basically soak it in hot water to get it to heat it back up, and then break the glue that bonded the sleeve and pull it apart that way. And we fixed it, put a new reed in it, and sent it back to him, and he was happy with it. But
that's a huge thing, though, like customer service.
Yeah, it's
huge.
huge.
That makes or breaks a company.
For sure.
I mean, if you can't be able to keep your customers happy, like if you were to do that, maybe 5 times to people, like, hey, like, well, I'm sorry, not do that. Do the opposite. Like,
right.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know how many people that, like, that person's going to be, like you said, they blasted Zinc all over social media. It's like, you guys don't realize what you just did there.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Nobody else wants to deal with that.
Right.
Everybody wants to deal with a guy that will give you the shirt off of his back.
Yeah. And it was just really disappointing to hear that that's kind of how they told him to screw off, essentially. So,
especially with a company that we all grew up, like, admiring, I guess.
Yeah, they were the status quo.
Right.
You want a Zinc call growing up. So, especially a wooden Zinc call,
Yeah. Do you guys run into, like, wood problems with your guys' call? Like swelling up or because
we did at first.
You got to treat them?
Yeah. So the first, it's we stabilize wood now.
Okay.
So at first it was very difficult. The metal bands that are adhered to the call.
Mm-hmm.
The issue we had is, and we actually didn't realize it at first, but the metal bands themselves were getting hot, and then the metal bands were getting larger than the wood, because the acrylic will expand with the metal. The wood won't as much in the heat. So people down south who leave their lanyards in their trucks all summer hanging in the rear view, now those bands are getting 130 degrees. They're swelling up, but the wood's not swelling with them.
Right.
So the bonding is breaking the bands off. So it took us probably about a year to kind of figure out, like, that's what's going on. Like, when we finally looked at a map and we're like, okay, we've had 25 people say, I got to send this back to you. We fixed it for free and sent it back to them, or just sent them a whole new call.
Right.
And it was fine. We've got a lot of them that have returned customers over the past couple of years, but it took us a while to, like, look at a map and be like, all these returns came from down south, not up north. What the hell's going on? And then we reached out to them. We're like, where do you store your calls? In my truck all year long? Okay. They're getting too hot and the metal band's swelling up. Yeah.
Definitely makes sense.
But it took a while to figure out, like, that's actually what's happening. It blew our minds.
I'll keep my lanyard in my truck, but I get super cautious because I've heard too many horror stories.
About, like,
breaking into vehicles and stealing.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I've had acquaintances that I know, full lanyards. Back window shattered, steal the lanyard, and
I can see it.
Sorry about your luck.
The lanyards are, you're getting up to $1,000 value in your lanyard sitting on the rear view.
I mean, in reality, a lanyard is priceless, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that one band or 2 bands or 30 bands on your lanyard, I mean, that is priceless.
For sure. I mean, I've got one goose band on my lanyard right now, and probably probably $1,200 worth of calls, and it's all the memories of those calls that
I mean, the
is stolen
bands,
out of the truck.
the bands alone, though, I feel like, yes, they are awesome, right? But who gives a shit about them?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How many bands do you have on your lanyard?
I think like 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's why.
What do you mean?
I've got one. It's worth a lot to me.
But I'm saying, like, you got so many guys on there that, like, that's all they care about are the bands.
Right.
I guarantee you have more stories, not just because you have one band, but you would have more satisfying stories to tell in the future over hunts that you haven't set a band on or compared to that one band that you shot.
And that's kind of my my motto for mounting ducks. None of the ducks I have mounted are just a cool species duck I shot. It's always a story behind it,
Right. That's the thing. It's like there's so many people that, I hear stories about like people putting like lanyards on people. Like, so, say I got a full lanyard, I put it on around your neck and say, see how heavy that feels? Who gives a shit about that, dude? Like, what are you talking about?
I've got 30 pounds worth of gear on anyways when I'm going out there. I hunt in Michigan.
Dude. My back and neck already hurts, dude. I don't need anything else on my shoulders right now. I don't know. There's just so much. I'm better than you just because I got this amount of bands and stuff.
My favorite's always when people see like a green call or a red duck call and they're like, oh yeah, I can't wear that. The ducks are going to see it. Really?
Waterfowl is a very different sport. That's for sure. Very bougie. So we might as well all have Louis Vuitton calls.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's tough. Very tough. Yeah. I mean, how was your season last year though? Was it good?
It started out really crappy.
The weather was horrible.
I don't think I actually hunted a goose and was successful during September. I shot a couple golf course geese, which, it's not really hunting. We drove up on a golf cart, got out, and shot geese. Not really hunting, but killed some geese that way. But I don't think I was on a successful goose hunt during goose season, for early goose anyways. And then probably the second week of duck season for the southern zone 3 or whatever we're technically called.
Right.
Then it started to pick up a little bit, but yeah, the first part was really rough.
Speaking of that, you were supposed to come this past year and contact me about a goose hunt. Last time we talked, you were supposed to come over and
was that?
I believe so. Yeah. So I'll say it again.
I'm forgetful, man.
I'll say it again. If you want to come over this upcoming year, let me know. Not saying we're killing, but come over.
I was just going through the breeding data on Friday, yesterday.
How is that?
Goose is looking pretty good up here. Now your countrywide's not looking too good, but
really
this northern Midwest area is looking very good for geese this year.
I could see 2 to 3 hatches this year.
Oh yeah,
easily
for sure.
With the mild winter and the frost lines.
I mean, the first hatch was, I saw geese almost a month ago. Like goslings, like that's early as hell.
I've seen pictures. Yesterday actually was the first time that I've seen goslings, but was the first time I actually been by water.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've been out in the turkey woods being lost, doing whatever out there lately. But yeah, I could definitely see 2, 3 hatches pretty easily this year.
Yeah, I think beginning mid-April was the first actual gosling I saw. So we got the time to be able to do 2, 3 hatches. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, what's the rest of the state looking like, or the country looking like? Is it dry? The drought?
A lot of it I saw was the ducks didn't push as far south this year from the mild winter, from what I understood. There's actually a blog post that got posted this morning, I believe, on lockdownsound.com that kind of runs you through the map and where that breeding is taking place. But you'll notice the northern half of the state was looking a lot different than the southern half. And I think it's just because most of the birds in the state now don't cross the Ohio Valley. They sit at the Ohio Valley and wait out a storm, and then they come back up.
So that was my next question. What about these Lake Erie or the lake birds?
Right. And we work a lot with Locked On Sound does with the DNR and getting a lot of birds tested. Both we donated, I think it was 56 birds or something like that last year to be tested for avian flu. And just so they can track numbers on that, and like we still get the meat off the birds and everything,
right?
We just let them come out and swab them, and we do a lot of DNA testing with them and stuff like that. And there's a lot of that new aged mallard DNA popping up that just they're built for the cold. They don't have to leave, and we're getting milder winters, and they're built more for the cold. So
That's there was a test done not too long ago. I think it was in Quebec. Even though it was negative temperatures, the birds found out a certain pond that never froze, whether they had bubbler in it or whatever it was. They'd go to the grain yard for the railroads,
right,
and eat there and fly back to the pond, just back and forth. That's all they would do. So like I said, everything you got to adapt and overcome. I mean, if hunting's not good for you in this little area, then you gotta travel a little bit.
Right.
You know, you got to do what you got to do to.
And that's what we had to do last year was travel. A lot of traveling. You know, we had 2 good weeks of diver hunting in our area of the state, but for the most part, we were traveling north to kill any of our mallards and any of the geese that we ended up getting later season.
You guys get a lot of divers over by you?
If I just hunted my home lakes, I would kill 3 times as many divers than I do mallards.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
We can go out and get a 3-4 man limit of buffleheads way easier than we can a 2-man limit of mallards any day.
Wow. I mean, considering where you guys are located at, I would think the opposite, honestly.
Yeah, and we don't get a lot of quote unquote the bigger divers. You know, we're not getting a lot of
Blues,
canvasbacks,
reds,
blues, reds. You know, but we do get a lot of buffleheads. We get a lot of ruddy ducks.
Still a hell of a shoot, though.
Yeah, I mean, I love it.
A blast.
And there's a lot of mallard snobs that'll be like, oh, I don't even shoot those nasty ducks, but they're fun to kill, you know. And when you get on them hard, and honestly, they're dumb ducks.
That's one thing that I cannot stand and wish I knew about on how to help the industry on these guys turkey hunting and waterfowl hunting. Just the snobs about every little thing that you do.
Right.
We posted a video the other day with the background, and the guy messaged us and saying like you should be ashamed in using this background with using decoys and yada yada yada. It's like, who are you, dude?
What do you want?
Yeah, it's like I don't even know who you are.
We're enjoying the sport.
Exactly, man. It's been horrible.
We get a lot of flack for flooded corn hunting.
For like the units wise?
Yeah, we just get a lot of flack from and even a lot of it comes from down south hunters that flooded corn's not real hunting.
Why not?
Because they think it's so easy to kill them in the flooded corn because they've never done it before. They think it's just, oh, you've got corn in standing water. There's ducks there no matter what. When in reality, you're putting in probably more work to do the flooded corn than if I were to just go out on my home lake and shoot 2 mallards.
I'd be very curious on like what their argument would be though, like their true argument. Like,
it's the same thing essentially as people arguing baiting deer. You know, as far as how much easier it makes it, they think it's so easy to hunt flooded corn. You've hunted flooded corn, I assume, right?
Yeah. I mean, so we got the zones and stuff, the managed units, and
that's what we hunt is the managed units.
We had a field last year with flooded corn. It was a private field, that was unreal, but you're still scouting and doing your research behind it. I mean, if you're sitting in the middle of the hole, they're not going to land on you.
No,
you know what I mean? It's still hunting,
right?
So, yeah, I mean, I would like to have some debates about that with people.
We get a lot of, especially on TikTok, comments about it. You know, we'll post a video of the boat going through the flooded corn, and that's not even real hunting. Like those mallards don't count. It's like, well, they tasted the same to me, so I'm gonna say they counted, but don't know what to tell you.
Doesn't count in what?
Just
if it doesn't count for my bag limit, I'm gonna stay in the corn and keep hunting. I'll tell you that.
They just don't consider it true waterfowl. Like I assume it would be the same argument as high fence deer. You know, they equate it as the same thing. Like, oh, that's not really hunting. You know, the ducks are gonna be there. Like, you don't. There's a lot of scouting that goes involved, especially some of the managed areas in this state that are huge, that have flooded corn and flooded marsh and rivers and fields.
There's some days that the marsh does way better than the corn.
100%.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of those people though that, especially the down south hunters, I feel like maybe I'll get some slack on this, but they're looking for a out on why their season's so bad down there,
right?
Which we can't control the weather. I mean, how long has the managed units been doing flooded corn? I mean, for
a long time.
You know, like now you're just saying that. And then you got to love the guys that we dealt with this with turkey season a little bit. You'll see the people in person. They won't say a word to you.
Right.
Get on Facebook or whatever, and they're
hide behind that screen.
Oh man, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
And let's be honest. The South has been better for duck hunting for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if the North has a couple good decades.
Right.
Like it's okay if we have some better hunting in the South for a couple decades while these mallards adjust.
I don't know. It's a whole debate where I would actually like to have a conversation with people that like have a list of names to call for a podcast and have just a whole debate session over that stuff.
That would be a good idea. Just like couple hour long podcast, calling in, getting opinions.
That wouldn't be bad. Maybe we could figure something out one of these days.
Be a good setup.
Come in here or me go over to you guys and
your equipment's better. We'll come here.
That's fine. We'll do that then. We'll do that. We'll have play pool upstairs, whatever it is, and we'll have a whole debate on that. I think that'd be a good time.
It'd be a good episode. Probably a couple episodes worth.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Let's break it into turkeys a little bit.
You've had a good turkey day, haven't you?
Me? Day? No, absolutely not. How was your season before I break into mine and have another outraging just heart attack again? How's your season going?
Did you ever play Marco Polo as a kid? And, you'd say Marco and somebody would say Polo. You'd go over there and then they'd be where you just were. That's pretty much how my turkey seasons went.
I didn't know if that was a trick question.
No.
Okay,
that was the best analogy I could come up for. We've been trying to track them down on our property. We don't have a ton of turkeys on our property, but had them on camera, so we know they're there. First 2 hunts of the year, never even heard a gobble. Opening weekend.
Are you roosting them or no?
Trying to. It really, to me, has been weird this year. Last year, it was very easy to figure out, hey, they're roosting over here on northwest side of the property.
Right.
Obviously, that's where, set up accordingly.
Right.
And we had a lot of turkey movement last year. This year, it's like, okay, they're roosting over here. We figured that out. Next morning, we go there. They roost on the other side of the property at night. What's going on? So they've really been bouncing around, and we haven't heard nearly the amount of turkeys that we've heard before, but they're on camera, so we know they're there. It's been a really weird setup.
There's a couple properties that we run around on that it's the same way. Like this morning, we didn't hear one gobble. Knew they were there.
They were there.
Oh yeah, they were there. It's been very difficult though.
Right.
I don't know what it is. A lot of people are saying like it's already happened. Like it's already like we're too late because we got that warm stretch in the very beginning of April.
Right.
In what would it be, March? Yeah, March. And they think it's late because I don't know if you've seen on the forums this year, everybody's been saying like they have birds hanging up at 80 yards, least amount of gobbling they've ever heard in their life. And I don't know, kind of strikes my curiosity.
Yeah, I don't really know. I've seen a lot of birds strutting though, driving around and, working. I can't figure it out if you're right, if it's over, if the rush has happened or.
I don't think it's over. I just don't think enough people do the research behind it, me included. Because, I mean, like, for me personally, I put a lot of time and effort into learning my ducks and geese just in my area, per se. I don't put enough time into just learning the turkey language, I guess, compared to, other people do. Like, I don't know what this means or that means sometimes. So I'm just kind of going out there on a limb, which I'd like to really get down to the nitty gritty, which I haven't been doing bad with it this year, which I've done a lot more research behind it, but there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. I've spent a lot of time this year kind of focusing on more of like the calling aspect of it of, based on the turkey that day, what calling style is best. But as far as scouting in the turkey department is definitely where I lack,
What kind of flock do you have? You have a pretty big flock? I mean, a lot of hens, a lot of toms, a lot of jakes.
From what I've seen on camera, we're looking at about a dozen birds, 3 or 4 toms out of that.
And the only reason why I ask this is because a lot of the times where on our main properties where I know there's a lot of toms at, like the property this morning, we had 5 longbeards literally just dragging the ground. Well, there's a group of jakes that run around that property every time. So not to get all nerdy on you, the jakes will listen for the toms to gobble.
Gotcha.
When the toms gobble, those jakes will come running because the toms are trying to draw the hens into them. The jakes will beat them out of wherever they're at because there's more numbers in jakes. There's 6 jakes compared to 1 or 2 toms together. Right. So the toms will leave, the hens are coming in, the jakes are standing there. Who's the man on the hill? So the toms will learn not to even gobble and just figure out where the hens are, and that's it. They're there they don't need to do anything anymore.
Yeah, and I think what really hurts us on our property is there's not an open field to hunt. You know, it's all wooded, it's all marsh or wooded. Those are your two options. So, and we've had a lot of rainy days the past couple weeks. So
Marsh is very tough.
I can't really hunt a thick woods in a rainy day. You know, turkeys go to the fields. So it's been difficult to time them right with the weather, but I'm hoping one of these days we'll be able to pull something off there. But
well, like you said before, though, I mean, you got my number. Let me know. I mean, and that's not me saying like in a cocky, arrogant way, but
right.
if you want a new scenery wise, you got my number for it.
Appreciate that.
As long as you shoot.
Yeah, no shit, dude. I'll just break it. I'll open up the can of worms here. So this morning I take out
the temperature just rose 5 degrees in here.
Dude, turn on the AC. Took out a guy, one of my buddies, and girlfriend's brother, which he shot a bird before. My buddy has not. Both of them are very good with with guns. They've shot guns before. They've bird hunted with me before. Don't hear a gobble in the morning. I've been seeing these birds out in this field every single day for the last 2 weeks. And that's one thing that we've done very well this year and have been very fortunate with, not pressuring birds in certain locations. So we'll shoot a bird over here, but you know, that property's done now. Or we'll focus on this bird here and we're not going to leave this field until we're able to get him,
right.
You know, not pressuring them. So these birds have not been pressured at all. And usually this is my number one field, as you've seen from the video. Hen comes in, 2 toms, I think 4 jakes come in, 3 more toms, just dragging the ground. Girlfriend's brother is on the bird the entire time. I'm asking my buddy, hey, you on it? You on it? You on it? He's like, no, I'm not on it. Something's behind it. Something's behind it. And then there's a deer that comes in behind the birds. Deer starts blowing at us. Turkeys get a little spooked. In the video, and I'm on my hands and knees like trying to video this thing through the tide weave blind. Which, do you have a 3 to 4 person blind?
No.
So the windows are a little bit taller.
Okay.
I don't know if have you hunted the 2 to 3 person one?
No, I actually have never hunted turkeys out of a blind. We strictly do we do ground blinds, and then we'll just pick brush, you know. And
so there's certain situations where I'll use those blinds, just to kind of like maybe the birds are hanging out here. I'll put that blind out there and I'll just leave it. If it's raining out like it was this morning, let's just go here, see what happens, you know. I would much rather sit on the blind or on the ground and be right there with them.
And you said that was a tideweed blind, right?
Yeah.
Have you used their turkey vests with the chairs?
I've not.
I was gracious enough to receive one of them. They sent me one back in February to try out.
How is it?
I'll use it during deer season now.
Really?
I'll use it during turkey season. It is so comfortable and so convenient. It's got like all the call pockets and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's got spots for 2 pot call, like 2 of every call pretty much. And then plus all the pockets for ammo and stuff like that. And big fan of that one so far.
I'll have to check that. I mean,
I'm not even like quote unquote sponsored by them. They just
were
gracious enough to send one out and have me try it. And I was like, okay, tideweed vest. I'll try it out.
If it works, it works.
I've loved it so far.
I just got the Sika Equinox, I think it's called,
Gotcha.
or something. I don't know what it is. They got weird names for everything.
Yeah, they do.
That I like a lot just because how compact it is. It's not like a chair; it's just got the cushion on the bottom.
Yep.
But it's a very
folds down, right?
Yeah,
yep.
it's just compact and it's tight. It's not like a big bulky vest like some people wear. But yeah, I'll have to look at that tideweed though.
I like it a lot.
But the 3 to 4 person blind that they have, the windows sit up a little bit higher.
Okay.
So I'm like below the window trying to record and like, you know, if you guys got a shot, take a shot. And like I said, the deer was behind one of the birds and this, that, and the other. And next thing you know, the birds are gone. I'm like, dude, what in the world? The birds are 12 yards in front of you and they are like just straight studs, you know. I haven't felt heartbreak like that in a very long time, I'll say.
Yeah, and I mean, you showed us the video. It sure looked like there were some clear shooting lanes open.
Yeah.
And like you said, they had never shot a bird before, right?
The one that couldn't get on it, yeah. So I think he was just overwhelmed on what happened.
My sister had that happen with a very large buck, bigger than the buck I showed you the video of. She had one come in when she was probably 15, 16. I was really little at this time, and my dad was sitting there, take the shot. She just froze up with buck fever and was overwhelmed, and maybe one of those situations. It doesn't happen often with turkeys, I feel like, but they were just overwhelmed.
I feel like, especially turkeys, I have like a strong love for turkeys because, for waterfowl, not that I don't have a strong love for waterfowl, but they're migrating, right? The turkeys
Right.
are there. So you got to make sure that you're maintaining your flock. You got to make sure that you're, doing what you can for the turkey, population just keep growing.
Sure.
So with that being said, I'm glad that he didn't rush a shot to wound one and
Of course.
to try to find a turkey that's wounded. I mean, it's slim to none. So at the end of the day, yeah, that makes me feel a little bit better. Dude, what the hell are you thinking? It's 12 yards away, man. Just shoot the gun,
Can't
dude.
ask for a better shot than that.
Oh, man.
Hard to miss at 12 yards.
I wasn't even behind the trigger or behind the gun today, and I probably won't be able to sleep now.
Yeah, that's a tough one to sit and watch.
So, and then shout out to Migra for this one, which we both run Migra. And Did you buy their turkey load?
Yep.
Or do you have their turkey load?
Haven't obviously shot it yet. Well, at a turkey anyways, but.
You're going to be shocked.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is absolutely a stone cold killer. Like,
I've heard nothing but good things about it so far.
Insane. Opening morning, I'll even break it down even a little bit further before that. So our guy Eric, the Firebolt Game Calls, he's coming in Saturday morning to call for my buddy. I tell him, call me at 4 o'clock in the morning. So after that, I get a phone call from the farmer. I'll make this real short. Guy on the property is complaining that I was trespassing. The farmer's like, no, this guy's losing his mind. You're good to go.
Right.
The guy sends the farmer a long text message that farmer doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He's like, if you don't mind, just hunt anywhere else. I don't want to deal with him anymore. Just stay out of there. Not a problem. Here it is, 11 o'clock. I have no idea where I'm hunting opening day. Oh, excuse me. I got a call from Eric, 4 o'clock in the morning. His tire falls off of his truck.
Oh.
He's got a 2.5 hour drive from Cleveland. It falls off 100 yards away from my buddy's house. Thank God. My dad and I go out to Plan B. Bird comes in. My dad sends 500 and probably 23 BBs out of 545 in the 3-inch Migra shells into my DSD Jake decoy. Ricochets off of my decoy, hits the turkey. My dad then misses 2 more times.
Oh.
I hand him my gun. He finally takes it out. 10 minutes later, I shoot mine with 1 shot, mind you. So we used a whole box basically that morning.
Right.
But besides that, yeah, the Migra stuff is just killer. I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's been a very hectic season.
Sounds like it.
Just
Heartbreak and success.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, if you want to, come on out. Different scenery, different views, different birds. I don't know.
Try something different.
Yeah.
Can't keep trying the same thing, I guess, right?
You can. It just might not be good. I mean, I don't know.
I'll end up just where I was last year without a turkey at the end of the season.
I don't know, man. Just turkeys is just different. I don't know how you feel with it, just getting back into it or just starting with it. It's just a different,
so far,
game.
I'd say it's the hardest game species I've ever hunted.
And I think that's why it's so much more gratifying, when you actually do get it. I feel like there's just so much more of a passion behind the kill, or not just. I mean, the kill, harvest, however you want to explain it. But I don't know.
You got to think about it. You're following it for the whole year instead of just for that season, right? You got to keep them up, keep them healthy.
Yeah, I mean, so with my dad and I limited out opening morning, tagging out opening morning. Maybe this is where I was going. Thank you for reminding me. I can't get enough of it, man. I'm just.
You've turkey hunted a shit ton this year.
Damn near every day.
Like every time I've talked to you, you're like, yeah, I'm just getting out of the woods. I'm like, dude,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's been. I'm in the process of changing jobs, so I've been lucky enough to be able to take some time off. And super grateful for it, for sure. And I with getting the new guys out, I feel like you guys probably think the same thing with waterfowl and stuff. I even with the youth stuff, it's like you the smiles on people's faces like that, or having a kid blow your duck call or turkey call or whatever call you give them. I mean, that's got to be such an amazing feeling for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We took a couple buddies I don't have I'm only 22. Not all my friends. You've got 2 kids, but most of my friends
What are
don't
you,
have
37, Holden?
No, I'm only 23.
Jesus criminy.
So they're
I
not
feel
hunting
old
age.
now.
They're not hunting age yet, but
Holy smokes.
so most of my hunting buddies don't have kids yet, but a couple of the older guys up north have kids, and they're just now getting to the age where like, okay, we can trust them with a 410 in the blind.
Yeah.
They're shooting their first birds now and stuff, and it's always fun. You get to the blind.
Can you be trusted with a gun?
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. You started smiling there. It kind of freaked me out.
I wouldn't trust them with a gun.
I was going to
but
say, I don't know, that smile.
if we go to a duck
Whoa,
blind
whoa,
with him,
whoa,
I'm giving
whoa.
him a pellet gun.
You guys do a lot of
Allegedly.
squirrel hunting?
We used to, yeah.
What about like coons and stuff like that? Like raccoons or
I go a couple times a year. I've got a buddy who's really into coon hunting and runs dogs, and he probably kills a couple hundred a year. But I've
let's
never.
give me his number because I want him gone.
It's bad. He's extremely impressive when Eric is who I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
figured that's what you're talking about.
He's extremely impressive when it comes to coon hunting and rabbit hunting, and it blows my mind. But
The thing is, I want, like, going back to turkeys now, the population, the coons absolutely destroyed nests and stuff. So to be able to
100%.
take out as many coons as I possibly can, and the way that they reproduce, I mean, it's such an important thing. Everybody complains about, oh, I wish we had more turkeys. Why don't we have more turkeys? Then they don't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to give back and
coons are definitely a big part of that, from what I've read.
yeah.
Hurting both the turkey and the waterfowl population. I've heard a lot of goose nests get ravaged by raccoons.
I want to say even crows on mallards nests.
Gotcha. Have you ever crow hunted? Because that's something I really want to get into. Because I hear they taste delicious.
I did it
Oh,
this
really?
year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you eat it?
No, we didn't end up eating it, unfortunately.
I've never heard anybody eat crow.
I've heard they're delicious. I've got an uncle down south who
Okay, makes sense.
makes
Makes sense.
who eats them up, and he says they're delicious. And I'm like, man,
How much bacon does he wrap around them?
it's probably most of what you're
Like
eating.
10
but-
pounds. Yeah.
But I mean, you got to think they're eating mainly protein. They got to be a fairly good tasting bird.
I mean, I will say pigeon is good.
Yeah, for sure.
We do some pretty big pigeon shoots in August, like early September.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if you've ever been on a pigeon hunt like that.
I've been on one.
It's insane.
It is.
It is crazy, but it's all grain-fed stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat it. It's nothing wrong with them, but I really want to try crow this year. I think our season opens up.
I think we have 2, don't we? Like it splits or
Yeah,
something?
so it opens up, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think September, and then it closes on opening day of
October or something.
gun season. I think it's November.
Is it November?
Yeah, because there's a part of duck season that overlaps, and then it closes in November and reopens at some point. But-
You are right. I'm almost 100% positive. I just don't know the exact dates.
Yeah, it's somewhere
like
around
it's
there,
something. Yeah, because there's been multiple times where we're out there and it's like, are they open? Are they open? No,
Right.
they just closed yesterday. It's like, what?
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 They reopen next week. Like, what?
Speaking of that, the coyote season this year, early the coyote.
Oh,
Yeah, I had a pretty good rant on our podcast about
Holy
it a couple
smokes.
weeks ago. I see both sides of it, but I don't see it helping.
What's the good side of it?
Well, I guess I see the scientific side of it. I see the effort in helping it.
As in what though?
So a part of what I've heard, and I haven't fact checked this, so call me out if you want, but a part of what I've read is as soon as a pack of coyotes loses a member,
Mm-hmm.
one of the females will go into heat instantly. So essentially it's like, a hydra. You cut off one head, 2 more grow back.
Yeah.
So the thought is, if we can not, around their highest breeding season, if we can not make them go into heat more than once in that breeding season, maybe the year-round population will decrease. I don't think it works, but I see the thought behind it. What we're doing right now is not working. The population's continuing to grow. In my mind, it would make more sense to say, let's try to get more people into coyote hunting. Our area, especially in Brooklyn, Michigan, has a bounty on them. The local store will pay you, I don't remember what it is now, but $20-25 per coyote you bring in. And they just tag it and say, like, cool, you can take your coyote, but we just want to see that you killed it. So I would like to see maybe a statewide program similar to that, but now you're taking a lot of money away from other programs, so I get it. But it does benefit deer and goose and waterfowl populations. So I see the point of trying to decrease the population by making them not breed as much.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think long term it's going to work. But what we're doing right now is not working either, so I see both sides.
All right, I'm gonna take a pee break real quick, and then I'm gonna explain
All right.
my thought because I had to hold my tongue there for a second. So
All right.
give me a few. Another sponsor I wanted to bring up was Gibraltar Duck Hunters Association. Me personally, I just joined up with those guys. Travis a little bit further out, so it's a little mismatch there. But whether it's from youth hunts to cleaning up the beach to dinners, anything just in the community alone, it is an amazing thing to team up with these guys, and can't speak highly enough of them. From everything that they do, it's absolutely amazing, and I highly suggest anybody out there that has a local DU or just a small association, highly suggest teaming up with those guys and giving back as much as you possibly can, because if not, who knows what the future holds. Like I said, greatly appreciate those guys letting us team up with them, and I really cannot express how excited I am for the future. But back to the podcast. All right, now we're back.
We're back.
So the coyote problem. You know why the problem is, like, for around here, like the muskrats, the raccoons, the nuisance animals aren't going anywhere, is because of the fur, right? Back in the day, people made a living on that. Like,
for sure.
Like, I forget how many years ago, like in where we're at now, people were buying brand new trucks with cash. And this was like 2015, not that long ago, like
right.
with cash on pelts.
Yeah.
If pelts are only $2-3 a pelt now, why do it?
That's fair. You're going to spend more money chasing them.
So, and then on top of that, okay, you're taking funding from something else. Well, why don't you start a coyote foundation, or you have Ducks Unlimited? Why not do a coyote group to be able to donate money or fundraising or dinners that you can make money and give people for the pellets, or
right.
just a dog, or here's $25 or $20 for shooting that dog. Why not do that? Why not do a year-long season with, you got to take a picture on every single dog and send a video to make sure it's floppy, where it's a fresh kill? Why not do something like that?
Yeah, it's not a bad. I've never thought of it like that.
I mean, like,
having something to fund it.
Yeah.
Outside source. My mind goes to, like, is there something that we could, like, essentially sell raffle tickets for, that all the proceeds from that raffle just go back to, like you said, fur harvesters?
Why wouldn't you be able to?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I feel like it'd have to be a private party thing, because the government's not going to step their toes into it. So
even if it is a private, though,
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
What's so bad about that? I mean, nobody's going to spend their time on something that essentially they're just wasting their money on, with gas and shells and all the equipment with it.
What do you mean gas is so cheap nowadays?
Yeah. But it's like, why not have an organization that contributes some money?
No, that's not a bad. I've never thought of doing something like a give back program, essentially, for the fur harvesters. I mean, I know we have a Michigan Fur Harvesters Association, but I couldn't tell you I've ever seen anything from them. I've just seen guys from the Wisconsin Fur Hunters Association at shows, but ours doesn't go to those big shows in Michigan.
So, and it goes back to, like, the Point Moulet Festival, right? I mean, you got to have people that are, like, even for you guys, right? For a call company that, like, to be able to be different from everybody else, you have to be in people's ears.
Yes.
You have to be in sight of people. You have to be able to post so many times a week or once a week at least, to be able to be just acknowledged from people. You got to stand out from people. So if that guy that runs the fur bearers in Michigan doesn't do anything, how do people even know about him?
Know? Right. Yeah. Nobody knows about the side effects that all these coyotes have on every other population.
Does he talk to anybody about donations, or how far does he go into stuff?
For
like
or is that
no, just in general. Like, how far does he go, like, with talking for donations, giving back to the guys that are trapping and stuff? No, I mean,
I didn't even know we had a fur bearers association until I met the guy who ran Wisconsin's in Game Fair last year.
Right.
And I was like, he was like, yeah, you guys have one. He's the president so-and-so, and I meet with him every month. And I'm like, I had no idea we even had one.
So, I mean, whose fault is it in reality?
Whoever's the C-suite people in that organization.
Not trying to point fingers, but I mean, like, So now the problem is you're not only canceling the 3 months out of the coyote season, right? It's 3 months that they're taking out.
Yeah, we're from 12 down to 9.
When they're doing that, it's in the planting season. When season goes back in, you're in where the crops are high enough where you're not going to see any coyotes, or you can't hunt that cornfield, or you can't do any of that stuff. So that's another 3 to 4 months out of season that you're not going to be able to do anything. So now you're looking at what, 6 months out of the year that you're shooting coyotes? That's not meaning the dead coyotes getting hit by cars or whatever else happens.
Playing devil's advocate here. When does the season close now?
That I don't know.
I think I want to say June, July, August.
Yeah, it's over summer.
It's over summer. I just don't know if it's June, July, August or July, August, September. But it's the 3 months in the summer.
It's already closed, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Is it?
Yeah.
It's closed.
So it wouldn't be June, July, August.
So it's like
closed.
May, June, July.
May, June, July.
Or maybe even into August. It might be like half of May.
It's only 3 months.
We'll say May, June, July.
Yeah. Okay, so May, June, July. We'll go with that. In your big open fields, mostly around us, you got corn, you got beans, you got some wheat.
Mm-hmm.
Most farmers aren't letting guys in their fields that time of year anyways. They're planted, you're waiting on stuff to pop up. The devil's advocate side of me says, are people really hunting fields that time of year anyways? Because the farmer's not letting you take a truck out there or a four-wheeler out there or even stomp around that property.
Counter that,
okay,
knee high by the 4th of July for corn.
Yeah.
So after that, how can you even go out there and hunt, or how can you even see to hunt anyways?
That's what I'm saying, though. I think the 3 months they're taking out is a part of the, we'll say, 5-month season where you can't really hunt those fields anyway. So I don't think this will have really an impact. Like,
Look, can you look up that date?
Yeah.
Just so like I know, because I want to say it was 3
Our tech
months.
guy out here.
Yeah, I want to say it was 3 months before, like it was
okay
growth.
And yeah, if it is, that makes a total difference.
Right.
But my
right.
my thought is,
but
I don't know, how often do you coyote hunt? Do you?
I've gone for the first few times this year.
Okay, so when I
Tuesday, April 16th. Sorry for cutting you off.
How rude.
What is
16th?
it?
Tuesday, April 16th. It closed for 3 months.
So April, May,
June.
It opens up July 15th.
So right there, then how are you supposed to do anything? So that means no trapping as well.
Yes.
So mind you that. So
correct.
Whatever fields that you used to be able to trap, at least cancel that right out.
No, for sure. I just feel like the people I know I only know a couple guys that are serious coyote hunters. I feel like they're not really hunting those summer months anyways. I don't. If I'm coyote hunting, it's going to be from November through March.
Why though? Wouldn't those be the 3 months where you're not hunting something else?
In theory, yeah, but at the same time, I feel like coyotes are moving more in that. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Coyotes are moving more in those cold months. They're more. You throw an e-collar with a hurt rabbit on it, or one of our lockdown sound predator calls, and you're going to get more of a reaction than when they have fields full of corn or bushes and berries and stuff like that. Like, I feel like the area they've closed for the time of year, you're not going to see more than a couple % difference. And I'm sure there's numbers out there between what % of the coyotes are killed in those 3 months.
But why not have tournaments why not have people want to go out there on those days? Like, why not give them a reason behind it? Like I'm saying, a year-long tournament or a summer tournament,
right,
or more of that kind of tournament where it's statewide and
I think, and this is probably going to be controversial, but after what we just talked about with the whole, having, even if fur harvesters, people pay for it, that kind of thing, I almost wonder if crunching the season to a small amount would take care of the problem more. Like, okay, if you could waterfowl hunt all year round, let's say, or turkeys, you're big in turkey. If you could turkey hunt from January 1st through October, you're not going to go 4 times a week like you are now. Because obviously you're not going to hunt that many times in a year. You're not going to kill 40 turkeys. So I almost wonder if you said, we're going to give you guys a 4-month season from November 1st through the end of February. You get 4 full months to hunt them. Would guys hunt a lot more because they know this is my season? And would you have more taken in a short span affecting their breeding season and making it so they're not going to heat year round, producing more pups year round. If that made any sense. I'm terrible at articulating.
See, I know what you're saying. It's hard to say because I don't know how their breeding habits go, if they only breed one time a year or is it multiple times a year.
So from what I understand, from what I've read, their main breeding season is the tail end of spring to midsummer. The 3 months that they closed is when they're having their pups. I don't know what their gestation period is, so I don't know when they're getting pregnant, but that's their main breeding season if everything goes untouched. But they're going into heat more throughout the year if you take out 2 or 3 pups or 2 or 3 coyotes, that female, to benefit the herd, will go into heat right there, even if it's August.
So are they going to cut down the coon season too? Because coons do the same thing.
That's above my pay grade.
But that's what I'm saying. There's so many different options and variables with it all. It's just like there's so many more things that they could do. I feel like that
no, I agree.
could just they don't.
It only works with a reward system, like you said before.
I think that's a great idea.
Something like that.
There's got to be a rhyme for the reason.
You know what? I'd be willing to participate in. There is a lot of managed land, i.e., the flooded corn managed land in the state, and I'm sure there's for turkey and deer. There's, for the stuff you have to draw permits for is what I'm trying to say. So, all the flooded corn in the state of Michigan, the first weekend is by draw only. I would almost be okay with saying every coyote you take is another point in that draw system for a species that you taking that coyote helps. So if I'm trying to draw elk tags in the northern part of southern Michigan, or if I'm trying to draw to goose hunt in one of the flooded corn lands, every coyote I take out of the population, I can use as an extra point to those draws because I'm helping that population by taking out those coyotes, to convince more people to help the populations that are being hurt by the coyotes.
How do you feel about this?
Okay.
Swan tags.
Yes.
Swan tags I'm iffy on.
$50 for the draw.
Yeah.
And you only let out 50 a year.
I'd be okay with definitely doing a limited amount.
How many people and how much money would you get off of just that?
I'm going to take your idea. I think you'd get a lot more with sandhills.
Have you shove it right up your ass?
I think you'd get a lot more people for sandhills.
Or just do a season for them.
Well, we need a season for them, but
see, that's what's tough though, because so for you guys, closer to 127, right?
Yep.
It's a huge flyway for sandhills. Huge flyway for sandhills. If you're from Michigan or travel at all and don't live under a rock, it's pretty easy to see. If you come over here late winter, that entire river and lake is full. It's just a solid white sheet of swans, which you guys don't have over there. So it's
we get maybe 1 or 2 per lake.
So we do both.
And now,
fair. But the reason I kind of point it toward, I don't know swan numbers. Couldn't tell you what the population is at all.
I don't know either one of them, but I just feel like there's a huge market for it all where you could really benefit in the DU or your local.
For sure. Now, what I do know is that the population of Michigan, when they voted a decade and a half ago on a sandhill crane population, were told we only have 20,000 sandhills residing in this state.
Okay.
When it gets above 35, we'll open up a season. Our population right now is at about 90,000, but they still won't open it.
Same with doves, right?
Yeah, same with doves. The population's over what they said, but the state gets too much money for this being a sanctuary state to give that up. The DNR and I always forget the name, but the other one that allocates money towards land management resources gets too much money for this being a sanctuary state to open up a season.
So make cranes a separate tag.
But then you're losing all that money for the sanctuary system.
You still think that they'd make more off the sanctuary?
That's such a hard thing because of the fact of how many people would come and visit the state and buy the tag. You could literally make the tag, say $100 for a drawing for a swan tag or a sandhill.
And I'd give it up instantly.
Exactly. And how many other people would? I don't know. I don't think they see it like that way. And like I said, mind you, I'm not a biologist by any means and don't know numbers, but
or
I see what I see.
If you really need money, you'd have to tie, like where it all started, we'd have to find a way to tie it in with the coyotes. But if you really needed money to allocate towards coyotes, open up 100, you could probably do a couple thousand sandhill crane tags and either make it $100 permit or raffle them off. How much are you willing to pay? How much are the rich hunters in this state willing to pay?
That would be tough.
It would be, but it would get a lot of money.
Because would you rather have it for the coyotes or would you rather have it for the habitat that we're losing? That's where you're going to lose a lot of people at.
I go back and forth because if I'm a big turkey hunter or deer hunter, I'm going to say I want it to go towards the land. But if I'm a waterfowl hunter, then I'm going to want it towards the birds itself because they migrate.
Yeah, but if you don't have the habitat, though, why would they even want to stop into your area? You know what I mean? It goes both ways. Like,
it goes.
I would rather have more habitat than because how much habitat are we losing? I think you guys had a podcast over that recently, didn't you? About the habitat, or like
I know we talked about like
the New Mexico and.
Yeah, we talked about like the different. The main point I think on that, if I'm thinking of the one you're thinking of, was talking about the limits 100 miles away in Canada compared to right here in Michigan.
Oh, maybe it was a different one.
But it might have been a different. I don't remember talking about. I know we did like a year and a half ago, talked about with a wildlife biologist about like the differing land managements and stuff like that.
I'm trying to think what it was. I don't know. I'm probably losing my mind, honestly. Whatever.
But I see your point. I mean.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we're losing land. We're losing even farmland from either like the property that I hunted today. 300 acres of probably the most beautiful Michigan land with river bottoms and 150-foot drops and valleys and everything you can imagine.
Right.
It's going to all subdivision. What about
sucks.
the solar? What about the solar farms?
The solar farms.
I mean, it's all you're losing it all, and they're taking a tiny bit where they can, and without you even
that's fair
realizing it. My opinion.
No, that's fair.
All. I don't know.
There needs to be something to change with the coyotes. That's for sure.
And it's going to take a lot more than just us saying it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I feel like everybody has that conversation in their garage one night with their buddies that says at the end of it, they're like, why aren't we in office right now instead of these idiots? Because,
every idea's got to start somewhere, though.
I mean, it's true, for sure. But I also feel like kind of going back to like having your calls in a store, right? Like you never thought you could have that say until you actually have the say of doing something.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people think of it that way.
No, not at all.
I don't know, but
that'd be another good idea for a call-in episode would be to have somebody on that's a part of that committee that makes these rules.
You should put up a poll.
And then have people call in with questions for that individual.
I mean,
that would be smart.
That'd be a good idea.
I wouldn't be down to start promoting a poll on social media and have a date to where we plan and you guys come into here and we set it up.
Cameron, I know you're listening. You're coming on the podcast. You're answering questions for us.
Who is this?
I won't throw out his last name, but his name's Cameron. He works as a wildlife biologist for the DNR and is on the whitetail committee for setting regulations for whitetail and other game.
Your guy over there. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I would be down for that though.
I think that'd be a good idea.
We'll do
pick a date a couple months out and get people to, give some time to advertise it and be a good idea.
I'm down for that. We'll have a little mixed podcast and go from there.
God, that's a lot of editing.
That's why I got my boy Meatball doing it for me. I don't know. Anything else you guys can think of right now? We just got on a huge tangent.
I know we derailed there quite a bit.
That's all right though.
Bass population.
The bass population, the dish pickles.
I get a lot of hate for that.
For what?
Overpopulation.
I eat bass. I catch and keep and eat bass. Because fuck you, that's why.
I've heard they're good if they're in cold temperature, but when it gets warm
Michigan,
outside.
every water is cold temperature.
But when it gets warm outside, as long as you're not throwing them out, like if you're throwing them on ice right away, they're fine.
Yeah,
but if they get mushy, but I personally have never ate bass. Teaches their own though. That's my opinion.
I live not on the lake, but across the street from one of the biggest bass lakes in Michigan for tournaments.
Okay. And
I get a lot of crap for taking bass out of that lake. Now, I used to not until I talked to a buddy from the DNR, and they were talking about fish populations and what lakes to stock that year and everything. And I was explaining the process of how they figure that out. And it actually doesn't go a lot by the number of fish in the lake. It goes by the size of fish in the lake.
Sure, because if they're smaller, they're overpopulated.
Right. So there's I think the sweet spot was 11 to 15 inches is the size bass that ruins populations. Because an 11 to 15 inch bass will eat almost 3 times as much as an 18 plus inch bass.
Really?
So yeah, because they're in that growth
Growing
spurt
stage.
phase. Yeah, it's like a teenager,
I can see that.
So they were talking about how they need more people. Like if I catch a 20 inch bass, I'm not keeping it to eat it. But if I catch a 11 to, I shouldn't throw out 11. I don't even know what the limit on size is this year. But
I know what you're saying.
if I catch that mid-range bass that's legal to keep, I'm going to keep it because in my mind, it's helping the population. But I get a lot, I'll come off that lake and they'll be like, what's in the cooler? 5 bass. You take them out of this lake? Yeah. And you know what? Your tournament's going to be better next year because of it.
I feel like the biggest person that contributes into what's the word I'm looking for? Shoot, I just had it on the tip of my brain too. Tip of my tongue, not brain. Like the person that gives back like the most of the outdoor industry are the actual hunters. Like they actually understand what they're doing. It's just like me going out there and knowing that I have 3 toms and 2 jakes. Well, if I shoot 1 tom, I'll have 4 times with the 2 jakes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you have to understand what you're doing, and I feel like the people that actually have the passion behind it do. And if they're doing it for the right reasons, then like there's too many people that see the videos and TV shows and we got to let everything go and they grow up to be big and crazy and this, that, and the other. If I have this pond, I'm going to throw 30 bass out there and they're all going to be 40 pounders. And it's like, no, that's not how it works, man. Like,
there's a difference between preservation and conservation.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
So, like I said, if you do that, sweet. Like, it not hurt my feelings.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's my opinion. What else you got?
Yeah,
idea
guy.
No, that's about
no,
it.
we're
That's
looking
it?
at you now.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh, Pete,
Why'd I even bring you?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
I don't know. You got any questions, though?
I'm sure I did. You'd think I would have wrote them down.
You did bring your notebook in.
I did, and then didn't write a single thing in it.
Well, maybe if I'm good enough to be on your podcast one day, you can interview me and we'll figure something out then.
Do you walleye hunt at all?
Walleye hunt?
Or walleye hunt? Do you walleye fish at
Yeah,
all?
I do. I do a lot. Yeah, I make my own jigs and everything.
So, you do?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got some in the truck. I'll show you.
What are your thoughts on them opening up the rivers year round this year? Have you seen a difference in numbers now that we're coming not to necessarily the tail end of the season, but the fall season and the spring season rush is kind of over? What are you seeing with that?
So I never leave home,
Okay,
and we're open year round.
gotcha.
So I've never dealt with any of that.
Okay,
Like up north, like I know my cousin's got the Kakawan River.
okay,
He lives right on that. Not saying that's an open or closed or whatever, but that's maybe the only river that I know of that closes down.
Gotcha.
Like I don't put much thought into it because I mean there's walleye season, there's turkey season, like I got seasons for everything, you know. So yeah, I don't have much to say on that.
okay. I'm glad I asked. Thanks.
Why is that a bad thing?
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I mean, it's like what I do think stupid for us here is Canada can do a no size limit fish. You can catch a 8-incher. We have to catch 15 or larger.
Yeah,
They
that's
catch
fair.
6. We could catch 5.
5. Yeah.
Why is that? You dump a bucket of minnows on their side of the river, they can literally take your boat from you.
Yeah. Same thing with like you said, you don't hunt. You mainly stay at home, but I
Mhm.
hunt the Saginaw River quite a bit. There is a bridge where the size limit changes, and it's like you think it just doesn't make sense to me. The
No.
fish are not. It's in the middle of the river. It's not like at the mouth of Lake Erie or something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you think that
Yeah.
the fish are not going back and forth? Like, why does it matter?
What's the research on that?
And boats will sit there and congregate right there just because they know they can catch X amount of this size instead of only 5 of this size.
Right.
It's like, why? They're going back and forth. Why does it matter?
There's a lot of things that I don't think the people that are making the rules even understand.
That's fair.
they're just throwing stuff out because it sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
Seamless sticks.
And a lot of them are just they're pencil pushers. Jeez, oh Pete's. And they have no idea what's going on.
For sure.
But yeah, that's my 2 cents on the river opening and closing.
Fair enough.
I don't know, man. I haven't put much thought into it.
Gotcha.
What else you got for me?
I don't know if you guys have ever talked about it on your podcast.
Nope. I'm just joking.
What's your opinion on being able to use drones to retrieve deer? I know you can't right now, but not just deer, anything. Do you think you should be able to do it? Shouldn't?
I think if you use a drone to, okay, let me back you with a question for you. You got a nuisance tag for whitetail, or we'll go sandhill cranes, right?
Gotcha, right.
You shoot one, you got to let it lay. What do you feel about that?
It sucks. I think it's a waste.
Inhumane,
right?
That's how I feel about it. So if you can find a drone, or you use a drone to find a deer out in the field,
I think you should be able to.
You wouldn't be able to find, and say you use a drone and you see it, but you can't pick it up, that's incredibly wrong.
Which that's opinion. The current law.
You're correct. Yeah. Right. I feel like it's what are they saying? It's cheating? What are they saying towards it?
The argument that I've heard behind it is the same argument that other states are using for banning trail cameras, is basically that it's making it too easy to pursue the animal.
Okay, so again, taking a piece out of it without people understanding it.
Yep. Exactly.
And I totally get, should daybreak be able to happen and I fly a drone over and say, oh, there's deer on this side of the property, we're going to hunt this blind today? Probably not. But if I already shot the animal, should I be able to locate it with the drone? Yes.
Correct.
I've already pursued the animal. I've already done damage. I should be able to locate that deer.
Yeah. 100%. I don't know why that's even a...
I almost get the argument over trail cameras more than I do drones. Because trail cameras pre-hunt.
Truthfully, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to argue...
Do I agree? No, but I can see the argument.
Yeah.
But drones, I don't see the other side's point. Why? There's no reason if I've already killed this animal, or worse, wounded it, I shouldn't be able to pursue it.
So you're going to basically have me make that deer or animal suffer.
100%.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Dumb question. I'm just joking.
You seem to have good points for it.
Trying to think of stuff we could debate about.
I got points on everything, man. Whether it's good or bad or whatever. So I was telling the guy the other day, it's like, don't make fun of what I'm doing. Just know that there's game plan behind this craziness. And he's like, I can't wait to hear or see the game plan. I'm like, dude, it happens every day. Like, what do you mean you can't wait to see the game plan? I'm like, I don't know. I think way too much about stuff like this.
All right, we might have a difference of opinion on this one, so I'll throw it out there. Mm-hmm. Crossbows.
I use one.
Are you fully supporting that? Everyone should be able to use one during bow season. Do you support separate seasons, like it the way it is? I know that's probably, as far as the hunting industry goes, that's got to be the most, if not, it's got to be the most controversial topic.
Why wouldn't you be able to?
Well, a lot of people in a lot of states don't let it during archery season, just because it's quote unquote easier. So
you would rather have somebody else flinging arrows out there that is on I
didn't say I would.
I'm just the example, right? So you'd rather have somebody out there just flinging arrows that doesn't have the time to practice or only able to hunt 1 or 2 times a year and cannot make an ethical kill with a compound, just run around rampant out there, compared to a guy that could go out 1 or 2 times a year, shoot a crossbow and just be done and have meat in his freezer for his family?
I think the argument against that would be, shouldn't you be able to use shotguns during archery too then? Because if I can't use a compound or a crossbow, I might as well just use a shotgun.
It still takes more skill to use a crossbow, though.
Aren't you taking a little bit more out of the puzzle without me even really thinking about it? Just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I think...
Devil's advocate, like I said. Just throwing out points.
I understand where they're coming from with the shotgun. But you could also say the whole 450 is south of the Zwaukee.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Now that you can use that down here, nobody's using a shotgun anymore. You're shooting a lot further.
Unfortunately, I still am. I haven't bought a rifle yet.
No, me too. But I mean, a lot of people are though.
No, a lot of people have switched over for sure. And
But-
I'm like you. I use a crossbow. Like, why would I?
I
Why would
would
I
personally, I would like to use my compound just for satisfaction for me.
Right.
Personally, I can't find the time to do it between the waterfowl hunting and everything else I have going on. So yeah, I'm going to take the ethical route and
I mean, for me, it's more of a price thing. You know, I can buy a crossbow that can shoot 60, 70 yards accurately for $250. But if I want a good brand new bow, you're looking at $1,200 easy.
right. It just goes back to, like I said, taking a bit out
Right.
without people. It sparks up a debate between people that get them all fired up and
For sure.
makes it easier for people to take it away from you.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. All right, Holden.
You're up.
Yeah, I got one for you.
Yeah, what's that?
Real tree or mossy oak? Yeah, it's just because we're in this
He's wearing a real tree right now.
Okay,
No,
controversial. I don't care. I don't think
Really?
I don't think it matters. I don't think. I think if you're going for a specific, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. If you personally believe that one is better than the other one, right? It feels different, then that's fine. Go for one. But I don't think if you're hunting with a cheaper real tree versus Sitka, that it's going to make that big of a difference in your hunt.
No.
It's all about how you feel. Really, it's all opinion.
Yeah, I think camo wise it doesn't matter, but I definitely think there are certain brands that
Well, comfort. Once
comfort
again.
and warmth, like
Exactly.
especially.
I was going to say, I wear Sitka, and I would say it's the warmest stuff that I've ever worn.
Which is
100%.
true, right?
100%.
100%.
And that's the only reason why I will never change, especially for my waterfowl attire.
Exactly, but if you can't afford it, you don't have to.
Do I wear Sitka for turkey hunting? Absolutely not. Just why pay that much? I mean, yeah, I have a Sitka.
I was gonna say, didn't you say you had a
Vest.
turkey vest?
Yeah, it was a gift, all right? It was a
Fair
gift.
enough.
But, yeah, I just buy mossy oak stuff. I mean, not that one's better than the other. It's just, I like the old school pattern.
Honestly, I think I own both of them as far as
Yeah, exactly.
like,
exactly.
I have Sitka for duck hunting as like my coat Sitka. I have 2 Sitka coats, and then I think their gloves are phenomenal. But like all my underlayers, I haven't bought Sitka.
Me either.
I use Mossio, a real tree, whatever whatever's cheapest. It's an underlayer.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
My base layer, I make sure is warm. My underlayers are just on top of the base, just for extra layering.
Yeah.
It's whatever's cheapest at Walmart that day when I go buy it.
Same exact way.
What kind of waders do you run?
Now that could be.
Oh, you field hunt mostly. You don't wear waders most of the time.
I got sick of waders.
Oh my god.
Not gonna lie.
They
They-
are warm. I wish I had.
Well,
Sitka
so they're not
waders.
that warm though, but you can layer them
The layer, yeah.
properly.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna be bulky. I could wear them like, so we'll go up north for the middle zone opener.
Yep.
Or we'll go teal hunt once in a while if the goose hunting is not good. So to be able to have a wader that I'm not sweating my ass off in, yeah, I like it a lot. Lifetime warranty. So you're telling me the 5 years that you just bought 3 or 4 different waders instead of just spending $1,000 and with a lifetime,
Right.
kind of pays for
Now-
itself.
I don't know if you've ran. Okay, I run cheap waders. I think they were $89 Tidewee waders. They're honestly the warmest waders I've worn. Now I've never spent more than $250 on a pair of waders, but the Tidewee ones,
What kind of warranty is it?
Tidewees are a year warranty, so a season, but they're $80, and I think they're 1,400 gram thin slit boots. So I like them a lot for the warmth. But the one thing I've heard about the Sitka ones that I want to know if you've ran into is now that they're so popular, if you rip your Sitka in season, you're not getting it back that season. I mean, I know last year they were advertising a 5 to 6 month wait period on warranty returns. So what's the point in the warranty? Like, yeah, it saves you that long run, but you're still going to have to go out and buy a cheap $100 pair of waders to make it through the year. And like, I love Sitka. Don't
If
get me
you
wrong,
rip your
but,
waders that bad, where in the hell are you hunting at?
I ripped mine.
I mean, a big enough hole where like a patch couldn't fit it.
I mean, not necessarily a patch, but like I tried to patch mine 2 years ago.
Maybe if you
Like
bought
a
better ones that would
Neoprene though.
Yeah, neoprene.
So if you have a breathable wader and you have a hole big enough to where you can't patch it though, just to kind of get you by or whatever it may be, where are you hunting and are you that careful with what you're doing? Not that you shouldn't
Fair.
be careful with. I mean, you should be able to do whatever you want to do with it.
Right.
but I'm not rolling around in a bunch of thorn bushes and
No.
acting like I shouldn't have a hole in it after.
Well, I ripped mine a couple years ago on my tailgate. Like, it was
sure.
shitty situation. Just, I walked.
How old were those waders?
Those were 3 years old.
A little dry rot, maybe.
I don't think so. I mean, they were.
So you like waxed them
holding up
down
pretty good.
and
Yeah,
kind of.
Those were frog togs.
See, that's the thing though too. I mean, even those kind of waders, you're gonna have a little bit of like that.
Oh, they're not perfect for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so like they're gonna be a lot. They're not gonna be as flexible as they once were. I'm not as good as I once was, right? That's how the song goes. So yeah, I mean, you kind of got to throw that into consideration as well.
But like other things, as far as like not just Sitka waders, but gloves, even waterproof bibs maybe that aren't easily as patchable.
I haven't ran into that personally. I could see
where it would be an issue.
I could see where it'd be an issue, but at the same time, it's a good issue for Sitka.
It is. You're popular enough to have that issue.
And we're dumb enough to keep going to it, right?
I bought it last year, and I'll probably buy some more Sitka this year.
I'm
everybody that has our subscription box will be getting Sitka this year.
There you go.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Don't
rip it during season.
I'm a very open-minded person with it when it comes to like the industry itself. I'm open to whatever anybody else has got to say, but I'll speak my mind, and if you don't like it, then whatever.
Right.
Like that, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing that you're going to say like you eat bass, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that I'm not going to listen to at least. And I think a lot of people are just one-track mind.
For sure.
That's the downfall to a lot of things in the outdoor industry. I don't know.
All right, you mentioned going up to the middle zone for the opener for them.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on the fact that they changed the middle zone split last year?
With the area?
Yes.
It doesn't
including that like the lower bay area, that kind of thing.
Personally, it doesn't like do anything to me.
Right.
So again, I don't really put too much thought into it. I know a lot of guys that were upset about it.
For sure.
But I'm going to stay out of that drama. You know what I mean? I'm going to stay clear with it. I don't have a say into it. I don't know enough about it. So I don't want to act like I know.
So you go pretty far north for the middle zone opener.
Yeah. Yeah, we go what's that big kind of by not there, but that Houghton Lake.
Okay. Yep.
We're about an hour away from there.
Okay.
So not too far, but
see, we usually go to not the southernmost point of the bay, but we're definitely in the lower 20% for that. And we've had pretty good openers the past couple of years. So
I got a lot of family out that way actually.
Gotcha.
Which I'll say after. I don't want to drop any cities right now. But yeah, it just doesn't really it doesn't do nothing for me though. So it's like why am I going to waste my time?
For sure.
Should it? Maybe I should put more thought into it so I know about it and make a difference. Maybe that's the problem with everything. I don't know. That's a debate in itself on how much information that people actually know about.
Right.
I don't know. But what else you got? Anything? I don't know what time we even got.
Almost 7.
Yeah, you're supposed to be home at 7.
No.
I think so.
I might miss dinner.
Yeah, I'd say so. We got here about 4:30.
Really?
We're almost going on 2 hours.
Damn. All right, well, then the last topic I'll hit on.
All right.
Not really controversial at all, but I'm sure you have a positive opinion on it. I just reminded seeing your duck stamp here.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we finally, in the first world country of the United States of America, can just keep the digital form of the duck stamp and not have to carry the damn thing around all year.
I like that.
Finally.
Is it true, though, that you have to buy them separately? You have to buy 2?
No.
It's not.
Not that I've heard.
Okay.
If so, that'll piss me off, but not that I've heard.
I'll have to do some research because I feel like I've heard that before.
As far as I know, it's going to be logged like it already is, in your digital e-suite, whatever they call it, for your hunting licenses.
Can you look that up? Tech guy?
They have an app now, too.
One of you guys, I have their app. One of you guys listen to Joe Rogan, right?
Depends on who's on there.
Who's the guy in the back who runs like the audio and that they always point to?
Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, can you look that up?
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to drive over for every podcast now. I heard that you have to buy them separately, e-stamp, and then you got to buy the actual in person separately.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard that yet.
I could be wrong though, but I do like the fact. I won't say it right now, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of writing on my stamps from prior years.
I've never signed one.
You do not have to buy both.
Okay, so I was wrong. I pissed somebody off the other day when I told them about that, and they were livid. So sorry to that person.
I would be pissed off. If you would have told me that was true, I'd have been pissed.
You can get the physical copy as well shipped to you if you order it online.
Okay, and without paying.
Without paying.
Okay, so
So
that's
just
good.
like all your other licenses.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's a whole different. That's a very collector's item, like which I absolutely love.
Yeah, and
That's
I'll be
like
honest,
these two pictures there. I absolutely love those two pictures.
Those are pretty.
Are they from Michigan? No, but just in general.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For
Just
sure.
one of those things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I love the Eider one. That's pretty.
Yeah. And then even the two, which people can't really see right now, but the mallard and the goose, that's Point Moulet is the two mallards, and the geese are Saginaw Bay.
You know, I'm like terrible at art, but it would be like a bucket list item for me to win one of those duck stamp contests. Like, you know how cool that'd be?
You know what
It'd be so cool.
is crazy, like for this room wise? Besides those two and those two pictures, everything else has been donated.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Besides the sheds and the turkeys, I've donated my
Of course.
life to it. But yeah, I've been super grateful for it all. Because a lot of this art, I mean, it's a dying thing, I feel like.
Right.
And they don't like it. It's such a respectful. I mean, I find so much respect to the people that spend the time to make it look like that. I mean, it's crazy.
Can't believe they get the birds to pose for so long.
I asked them the same thing. But no, tell people where they can find you guys.
Put me on the spot. All
I
right.
know.
All of our info you can find, of course, at our website. That's just lockdownsound.com. All of our social medias are Locked On Sound. Our Instagram, however, is Locked On Sound Calls because we got banned off Instagram for promoting animal cruelty a couple years ago. Because
You just had to say something about the sign, didn't you?
So sorry. We were quote
Animal
unquote,
cruelty.
we had pictures of dead ducks.
Excuse me.
That's very animal cruelty like.
On Instagram?
On Instagram, yep. So we had about 8,000 followers on Instagram, and then they just deleted our account, and it really sucked.
I just seen a man get hit by a bus yesterday on Instagram.
It's
Yeah.
wild, the
issue
shit
is.
you can see on there, but they see our page, and they're like, that guy right there, he's a problem.
Don't even get me started with TikTok because we just
Same
got one of those.
thing.
It's
Not
been
even.
horrible.
Yep.
Horrible.
I can't even, I made a TikTok post about our subscription box the other day,
Mhm.
and I can't add links to my posts anymore because we've had too many posts removed for community guidelines, so they think we're going to put a bad link on there.
He even got me shadow banned.
I was like, are you serious? Yeah,
By
way to
tagging
go.
him.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Probably because you wear a real tree.
Yeah, probably.
Not me. I gotta wear sick.
But yeah, our social medias, if you look up Locked On Sound, you'll find us. Talked a little bit about the subscription box earlier, lockedonsound.com, and then just go to the subscriptions tab and you'll find that. It's only $29.99 a month, and you're going to get a lot of cool shit every month. So a lot of stuff you definitely wouldn't be able to buy for $30. So
Super
make sure you go
exciting.
do that. Super excited about that idea. Our podcast is Locked On Sound, and I think I tagged everything there. So
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just feel like we need to do a part 2. We're coming up on 2 hours
I know,
already.
wild. It really didn't feel like 2 hours there.
No.
I would have guessed it was maybe 5:30.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
Yeah.
Me too. But yeah, we'll definitely vice versa. Me coming to you guys, you
Yeah.
come over here, whatever it is. Maybe leave him home. No, I'm just joking.
I agree.
I should have brought the puppy back.
He should have, so he could piss all over the carpet
He's
again.
much more well
I mean, I can do that if that would
Whoa,
please
dude.
me more.
I don't know what you're into on the west side of the state or whatever side you're on. You're on the east side of your bud, all right? Let's take it easy. Take a step back.
I didn't even get to talk about, last podcast we did, they heard Mozzie whining in the background and everything. I
Yeah.
didn't even get to talk about his season and all that happened. So
So we'll talk about it after with the nitty gritty with
Right.
that because I forgot some solid points on that. Yeah, no, we'll do a part 2. We'll do a part 2. We'll do the debates. We'll stay in
yeah,
contact.
we'll have some good episodes coming out.
we'll pick some nice days for either you come fishing or while turkey season's still in,
For sure.
and we'll figure some stuff out.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Yo, thank you guys for coming in.
Can't thank you enough.
Like I said, I don't mean to cut it short, but I feel like we could sit here till 9 o'clock tonight and just keep on talking.
I'm already going to be in trouble, so.
What's another 2 hours then? Might as well keep on
Exactly.
going. But I appreciate you guys again. I appreciate everybody listening in today. And until next time,
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for listening.
we'll see you.